Good Thursday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of Captain AccuWeather, coming to you by way of the Captain AccuWeather Command Center, both on Facebook and YouTube live right now. If you haven't discovered my YouTube channel, we'll talk about that in a moment, but I'm on both channels as I'm looking at both screens over here. Love to see you on YouTube because it's just another way to expand my reach. Plus, I get a lot of notifications, or at least some comments about the lack of notifications, so if there's a different platform that you're more inclined to utilize, there's just another way to get the message out about the weather. By the way, the ultimate Doppler radar presented by InstaDry, foundation repair, basement waterproofing, and crawl space encapsulation. InstaDry.com, locally owned and operated. Check them out. They would love to help you out. They also help with hail damage. So we are instantly dry today. We're going to talk about the moisture here on my next slide or two, but I do want to talk about the fact that we've had quite a bit of rain in most of this month, but now we're moving into a dry pattern. Clearly, showers and storms near Virginia Beach, along the outer banks of North Carolina. That's about as close as we can find, maybe up toward, say, Michigan and into parts of the Great Lakes, but it is dry all across the board. And if you look at the deficit, which really is lacking, we don't have a deficit, and that's because yours truly is a note taker. Let me come back on my series. I got 5.80. That's just under 6 inches of rain, McGee Tyson, for this month so far. So if we don't have a single drop of rain for days on end, how bad is it going to get? Well, I can tell you this, we're not under a deficit. But when do you start to sound the alarm? The day after the rain moves out, or maybe a week later? Because we could still be looking for rain, I can't see it, a week from now. Oh, you'll see that in my 7-day forecast, but I get ahead of myself. We are running about 3.76 above normal for the month and about 2.5 inches above for the year. So moisture has been in ample supply, but now we move into a dry pattern. So your lawn may like the fact that we've had all this rain, but you're going to see some dry stretches here coming up. By the way, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is absolutely free. If you go to youtube.com, there's a little fancy there. You got to put the slash and then the @ symbol, which is why I made it yellow, and then my name, Captain Accurate. So if you're on the YouTube, as I'm coming back on here, I got 2 people, and I think I'm one of them. But anyway, if you're on YouTube, leave me a comment. I'll do my best to answer that. And as I jump back to Facebook using the tabs here, I can see that you might be on the call. Fritz says, good morning, David. Darcy Source says, good morning. Not used to beautiful, cool mornings. This is another, I mean, we could get spoiled, but there is going to be an intense change of weather coming next week. Even though it's dry, it's just exceedingly hot and humid, so the weather is going to change in a big way, so hopefully you will be ready. But we'd love for you to follow me. They call it subscribe, but it's a little different than my premium members on Facebook. That is a cost of $4.99 a month, but this doesn't cost anything to follow me on YouTube. You can get other notifications from different platforms, and I'd love to help you out. And I'm also on, of course, Twitter, which is now X. Visibility in miles has been reduced, especially in southeast Kentucky. I'm looking at Middlesboro, down to about a mile. We'll follow it, probably not much better. So once you cross into Tennessee from the north, looking down I-75 or north on I-75, LaFollette's down to next to nothing, maybe a quarter mile. Oneida, Scott County, also having some fog issues, so please be extra careful. There could be some issues down toward Tellico Plains, but where you see a 10 by your town, well, that's the maximum in terms of visibility, 10 miles, so it's not a problem at McGee Tyson, but you will find it in some of the outlying areas. Got to show you this, these temperatures, while they're not necessarily, it's not really that humid, but we are at 67 degrees at McGee Tyson Airport. We have 60 Johnson City. Chattanooga checks in exactly where we are at 67, and it's 60 in Jackson, Tennessee. If we look at our temperatures, at least closer to home, because I think that's more important as you head out the door, we're at 59, he says, in Wartburg, 58 in Crossville. Athens has been down, at least their airport temperature, at McMinn County Airport since the 14th, so for 3 days now. But I can interpolate 61 around Tellico Plains, Jonesville about 60. So this gives you a sample of how cool, as Darcy said, a cool morning. I mean, 67 is kind of like the hot spot on this map. Oak Ridge is waking up to 64, Kingston 61, and 62 around Maryville, where Fred is located. Or in the vicinity anyway. Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, about 63. Del Rio, Cosby, Newport, also around 63 degrees. And you might be wondering about the dew points. How low are they? They're in the 50s and 60s. That's pretty delightful. Anything far away from 70 is good. If you are sensitive to humidity, you probably don't want anything near 70. But guess what? Those dew points will go back up next week. So seize the day, carpe diem, get out and enjoy it. I know you did yesterday, and if you liked it yesterday, you'll love it today. We're going to move it up about 3 degrees in terms of the heat this afternoon. Yesterday, we hit 82 in Knoxville, and it actually turned out to be 84 yesterday in Oak Ridge. I expect we'll be around 85 today. So if we go from 82 yesterday, 85 today, we'll have jumped up 3 degrees, but the humidity is still comfortable. It's not all that bad for sure. A couple other comments from you. Judy Kerr says, good morning. It's 61 in Rutledge. Love this tease of fall weather to come. Oh, yes, because, I mean, we have to brace ourselves for summer's vengeance when it comes back next week, as we'll find a heat wave, I think. We're going to find multiple days well above 90, and the heat index will be closer to 100. Wanda Poe says, with all the fog Tennessee has had in August, hope for lots of snow. I have a lot of premium members who have been counting the foggy days. Now, you might call that weather lore. Some call it old wives' tales. Whatever you want to call it. It has, I mean, it's the same, probably in the same category as woolly worms and persimmon seeds. There are a lot of folks who look into that, and we've been looking at that on the premium side a little more closely. Esther says, good morning, David. 62 in Washburn. Thank you, Esther, for that weather update. And Felicia says, happy, cool morning, beautiful Thursday. Saturday is a National Farmers Market Day. Oh, I love farmers markets. Oh, yes, pretty weather Saturday morning, so out and going to visit the market. That's awesome. We'll still be in the 80s on Saturday in the afternoon, but I do think we turn a corner as we head toward Sunday. Sunday, we're going to be back, I think, into the 90s. By the way, 59-degree dew point in Wartburg, 57 in Oneida is a slice of nice. Now, how long can we keep that going? Well, you can see there looks like at 12 noon, maybe a hint more of it. The dew points may come up briefly, but then they fade back away at 5 o'clock this afternoon. As we track the humidity some more into tonight, 11 o'clock, not a problem. Really not that much of a factor. Maybe a slightly higher in green tomorrow morning on your Friday. But then it retreats, especially Saturday morning. Look how far south it goes. That humidity, the stuffy air, heads south of Birmingham, and then works its way back to Huntsville by 5 p.m. Saturday. But eventually, it will try and make its run back here, I think, next week, because there's 5 o'clock Sunday, and with temperatures by Sunday around 93, or you go, man, why couldn't we keep what we had? Well, because it just doesn't stay static, right? It's like you go to the beach in the morning, no waves, go back in the afternoon, or stay there at the beach, and they got waves that are crashing on the shore, and your boogie board, you lost your boogie board because the waves were so big. We're going to see this wave of humidity come rushing back in as we head into next week. It is 6:47. I want to get you out the door here with bus stop forecast and the tropics. Boy, do I have something to update you on the tropics, so stay with me. But here's what's interesting. The winds are pretty light, and therefore we've had the fog reports, especially La Follette, Oneida, Middlesboro, further north. Allergies today are certainly going to be changing. Ragweed is on the rise. If this were a stock on the stock market, I'd say go all in, because it's going to stay high, especially as we get into these hotter days next week. And no rain to talk about. Oh, my symptoms are so bad. We're going to be doing that, and we're going to be complaining that we need rain. I need rain. We're going to have like 7 days, 8 days, no rain. And then somebody will say, I wish we had the rainy pattern and stormy weather we had last week. And you can never be happy. I think we're all kind of conditioned for that. But if you are sensitive to ragweed, we don't typically see any relief until the first frost, usually in mid-October. Sometimes it comes closer to Halloween. But grasses may be moderate, molds might be on the low side. So ragweed typically peaks, for those of you who are new to our area, around Labor Day. But again, it takes it to usually October before we see any dramatic change. But trees, grasses, and weeds typically come in this order, with usually some type of overlap from time to time. Tracking the clouds, not a whole lot to see this morning, and it brings me to a perfect time to get into the sunrise sunset time. But let me get to the bus stop forecast. Here's the clouds. Not much to see here, right? Bigger picture, tell me there's some clouds somewhere in Tennessee. I'm sure there's a few wispy clouds, but most of them are in eastern North Carolina at this hour. Heading back to school today, the sun will be shining, maybe a touch of fog, especially further north and through the Smokies, but I anticipate temperatures by the time we hit, say, 10 o'clock, maybe for the littlest ones, there could be some recess involved, given the fact it's so beautiful outside, but it's like room temperature at 10 o'clock, 71 degrees. School teachers take note. Should be around 71 at 10, 81, 10 degrees warmer by 2 o'clock. So when you go to pick up the kiddos or they get dropped off, temperatures will be in the low 80s. I suspect we'll head here about 83 for Oak Ridge, 85 Newport and Maryville, 84 for Athens, 80 for Oneida, and 83 for La Follette. So that's my expectation today. I still got a lot to cover, but I want to answer some questions. Tim says, good morning, David. I'm so ready for fall. Oh, you've got a tough way to go. We got to get through next week, because while all that's happening, getting hot and dry, guess what's happening in the Gulf of Mexico? Ooh, hurricane season. Oh, no, you didn't just say, yes, we're just getting started on hurricane season. More on that in a second. Michael Norman says, I'm definitely sneezing more all of a sudden, and it's going to get worse. Each dry day, as it gets hotter, ragweed's going to come on pretty strong, I suspect. Carrie says, good morning, loving this weather. She's got her cup of coffee and a heart. And if you're on YouTube, I'm over here. Any comments? Steve Stone's here. Yeah, he's got a heart on here. He said, good morning. Steve Stone, my first YouTube comment of the day. And we've got 3 people now watching. I think I'm one of them. But anyway, I love the fact that you're on YouTube. Some of you like to use that platform more readily. So I'm now doing the dual Facebook Live, YouTube Live at the same time. Love it. So multiple platforms trying to get the message out and about. Sunrise today. You're not going to be hard-pressed to find this much cirrus clouds, but it's the way my graphic was designed by yours truly. 6:56 is when the sun comes up. That's in 5 minutes from now. So it should be a beautiful sunrise, but it will be setting now at 8:23. 8:23, man, I remember when it was like still light out at 9. Well, that's kind of hard to get now as we've now moved into mid-August. It is the 17th of August. This is the latest map from the National Hurricane Center. And if you need more evidence, I circled the timestamp in the lower left. They have a 60% chance that one wave off of Africa gets a name. Another 60% chance another storm gets possible name. But don't let the yellow area in the Gulf of Mexico slip by. Don't ignore that. That's a 20% chance that something forms in the Gulf of Mexico over the next 7 days. It's not like going to form in the next hour or the next day or two. It's something to watch, and a probability of 20%. Any one of these storms could get a name ultimately, but whoever pops first will get the name Emily, then followed up by Franklin, and then maybe we get Gert. Can you imagine if we had Hurricane Gert in the Gulf of Mexico? Would you board up for Hurricane Gertrude? Oh, she's a sweet lady. I knew a Gert one time. See what I mean? We do that. We put names on storms, and sometimes it doesn't always benefit all those involved. Yes, hurricane flags look like this when they do occur, but I just want to give you an idea that usually you get less than 2 days warning for lead times in hurricanes in the red areas. So the Gulf of Mexico, something to watch over the next 7 days. You won't hear any trumpets sounded probably until something forms, but at least you're ahead of the schedule. If you're watching me, I will keep you updated. Of course, my premium members get updates every day about what's the next big thing around 2 o'clock every afternoon. Atlantic tropical names, Emily, Franklin, and Gert. It would be followed up by Harold, as we're now at the point. Look at this. This is where we are today. Notice my new arrow. And then this is where it peaks, typically, historically, September 10th. And you might argue that August 20th, which is really 3 days from now, to September 10th, historically is when all the storms really reach a fever pitch. Think about all the storms you think are. Katrina happened in that window. Hugo, I'm pretty sure happened in that window. Fran, who is it? Andrew 1992 happened in this window. So a lot of the storms, not all, but a lot of them typically occur during the peak hurricane season. And if you're worried about dust, you might want to be if you have family down in Florida, as they're going to get inundated with African dust. This is all because the winds are kicking up. So all the dust that's in Africa is stirring in like so. Florida may be blanketed with some orange sunsets and sunrises right through the 22nd of August, but sometimes can have a slowing down effect, maybe even slow down development for some of the storms. So the ones that have a 60% chance will be watching how the dust may interact with those storms, potentially. By the way, today is still warmer but comfortable. Warm on Friday, some drizzle possible, but again, that's like, you know, counting a few drops here or there as the front comes through tomorrow. But it's going to be significantly much hotter next week. I can't advertise that enough. That's the bigger story down the road. So next week, if you're making plans and you're not a fan of the heat, you want to make sure your air conditioning is in good working order before there's a rush on all the heating and air conditioning companies. Get calls from people, I need help. But think about it. Be proactive, as they say, as we are much hotter next week. Right now it is 67 degrees and a northeast wind at 3. 90% relative humidity, dew points at 64, somewhat comfortable. If we're lucky, we get some drizzle Friday, but I left it out of the forecast. I mean, if it affects 1, 3, 5 people, does it really matter? And I'll show you, it's just not a whole lot in the data, but watching this over so closely, and as you can see here, the Valley Planner would typically put us around 88 for this time of year. We'll be lucky to get to 85 in Knoxville. So I'll just say it's a bit warmer than yesterday to the tune of 3 degrees, but it's still comfortable. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Anyway, I want to say good morning to you again. Oh, I got 4. I've got 4. Hey, can I hear 5? I got 4 people watching right now, streaming on YouTube. On my YouTube channel, Steve Stone saying good morning. He's also one of my Facebook premium members, but he likes YouTube as well. And if you're on Facebook, as I switch over here, I see Janet Potts says allergies have definitely been an issue in our household, and to the Aldrich household as well. She said, have a great day. And 16 days, says Wanda Poe, to the Vols' first game. Go Vols, I look forward to winter, and hopefully a goodbye to the ragweed and hello to the snow. So I know where Wanda's allegiances are. She's to the snow, but she's also to the Vols. I know this time here she's excited about winter when it finally does arrive. All right, let me get you through the door here at 6:56. If you're having some concern, maybe you're traveling today, maybe you just have some family outside of the 4 walls of Tennessee, where could we find severe weather today? That's a fair question. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center, through their lens, puts that around Detroit, Indianapolis, Columbus, Ohio, for some isolated severe storms in dark green. Doesn't mean it will happen, but those are the areas that may be more susceptible. This also includes Philadelphia, New York City. It includes South Jersey. It includes my hometown of Wilmington, Delaware, just north of Dover as well, and then back toward Harrisburg, PA, the capital of Pennsylvania. And you can see severe risk is a 0 here because we won't have much more than just fair skies and a few scattered clouds. If there were to be a tornado, it's a small chance, 2% today, from the Storm Prediction Center around, say, Allentown, Scranton, Harrisburg, and Lancaster, PA, and Reading. Those areas might have some stronger storms. By Friday, that moves to the east toward Boston, maybe Hartford, and eastern sections of Long Island may have an isolated severe storm, but there's nothing going on for us. As I say, it won't be too long. I think the complaints will start coming out. Man, we need some rain. But I was saying that like when it was raining a couple of days ago. I said, before long, if we go down this road, down that rabbit hole of no rain for a while, some folks will start to say they need it, and they're hoping that we get it. Maybe it all comes to an end when we get the remnants of a tropical feature. That's a very interesting theory. Ooh, are you suggesting? I'll talk more about that on my premium site. So go to CaptainAccurate.com if you want to join us there. We'll have that conversation. Severe risk for Saturday. Not an issue, obviously, here. It's a nothing burger. All right, Futurecast shows high pressure south and west toward Arkansas. There will be a front that may initiate a few drops of rain or drizzle heading into Friday. But here's what it looks like tonight. Oh, well, they might get some rain in Lexington. They might get some rain in Portsmouth, Ohio, maybe Huntington, West Virginia. But boy, it comes in here with a whimper, right? The front comes through. It's, as we like to say, moisture starved, but just enough that maybe you get a sprinkle on a windshield. That's 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The front will have moved through, but it could be enough in the Smokies where there's enough lift in the atmosphere, a little bit of drizzle actually occurs, and it wouldn't surprise me. Outside of that, it's slim pickings from that point forward. By Saturday afternoon, we should be around 87. So we got temperatures today at 85, tomorrow 86, and Saturday 87 degrees. But Saturday looks great for the National Farmers Market Day, as Felicia was so kind enough to share. As we head toward 5 o'clock Saturday, it looks great. So it's going to be dry. That's the big headline with rising ragweed pollen. All right, as it's now 6:58, find out where are we going to be at noon today. Because I think we like to plan for lunch. I would encourage you, if you like lunch outside, you don't mind the ragweed, we should be around 77. Not exactly room temperature, but pretty sweet. 77 degrees at lunchtime, not bad. Heading to the 85 mark, that's where I expect to be by the afternoon. As you can see, temperatures by, say, about 5 p.m., 85 Newport, 83 for Oak Ridge, about 82 for La Follette. Again, these are approximate temperatures and times, but you'll notice 11 o'clock, mostly clear, maybe a few extra clouds overnight. That might produce a drop of rain. I think that's pretty slim, so we'll keep it out of the forecast. But I do mention it just to keep the conversation lively, because I know that some would hope that maybe we get some rain down the road. But today, 85 today, bright sunshine, a few clouds, and from the humidity standpoint, we can label it still comfortable. Some people say 85's warm. How do you say that's comfortable? Talking about the humidity aspect. That's all I'm trying to indicate. And the winds will pick up 5 to 10 plus this afternoon. So those are the things we're watching there. Ooh, look at that. We have doubled our YouTube Live. We're now up to 8 people. Isn't that great? I tell you what, some people are not, I'm just going to make a habit of this. Do the Facebook Live and the YouTube Live. Save time. I love it. In fact, here, Steve Snow until the only comment. But if you have a comment, let me know, as we've now doubled our viewership in the last few minutes here on a Thursday. It's hard to believe it's Thursday, but 85 is what I expect. It's now 7 o'clock. Expecting high of 84 in Athens, 85 Newport, 85 Middlesboro. We have some fog that might be locally dense at the moment, especially toward Campbell, Scott County, and Bell County, Kentucky at the moment. So drive carefully and slowly. Should hit about 90 in Memphis today, 85 in Chattanooga, and 82 for the Tri-Cities if you're doing some traveling. What about the fog tomorrow morning? Is it going to be that bad? Are we going to see a lot of reduced visibility? Could be in the same spots that we see it this morning. There's a little hint there around Scott Campbell County, maybe a little bit through the Smokies, but this is a representation of how the models see the fog tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock on a Friday. But of course, we'll revisit that tomorrow during tomorrow's Facebook and YouTube Live. 66 degrees, my low temperature tonight. Not as cool, but not bad. Mostly clear, maybe a few extra clouds in the overnight, and maybe, if you're lucky, you see a sprinkle on the radar. Tonight, we're down to 63 for Wartburg. 65 for Morristown, 66 Maryville, Alcoa, and about 65 for Clinton, Oliver Springs, and Oak Ridge. 64 for La Follette. All right, here's your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville and East Tennessee. It is 7:01, 86 on Friday, 87 on Saturday, and then it's up and away, Superman. We're going into the 93, 94, 95, 94, and every time those dew points come up in lows in the low 70s, it's going to feel like it's the upper 90s. Oh, you don't mean like it's going to feel like 100? Could. Very well. Again, perception is everything, but there is a good chance that we can start to feel that warm in the coming days. But that's next week's issue. So be proactive. Make sure your air conditioning is in good working order. That would be my encouragement to you, as it will be a little bit of a hot stretch. Hot and dry for sure. By the way, if you haven't seen my pictures from Louisville, Tennessee on Monday, I was in Blount County, and the Maryville Tennis Pro and a premium member, Christian Burns, came out to support Louisville from nearby Maryville. But I had a chance to hang out with him. We had some lunch with him and his wife, Melissa. We had a great time. But if you haven't been to Louisville, check out Beale Park. It's very, very cool. I had more clouds and some storms later that day. But most of what you'll find at Louisville is just lots of green space. You got to love it. And they also have, well, lots of areas of water. They have a marina. You say, is this the same Louisville that is kind of connected to the airport? It is. Who knew, right? You didn't know they have a cool town hall. They had a lot of cool things. So check out Louisville. My pictures are on Facebook. You can check them out. And they also have a very handy and friendly dog park. Somebody left a comment on the dog park picture yesterday. Said, this is the best dog park ever. They got a section for the small dogs. They got a section for the bigger dogs. And it was quite busy when I was there just a couple of days ago. By the way, this Louisville Spotlight is one of the many that I've done thus far. It's number 37, in fact. I did Oak Ridge last Wednesday. I did Kodak the previous Monday and Friendsville and so on. So if you want to see any of my pictures, I've taken about 75 to 80 photographs of each one of these towns, and they date back to Seymour when I did that on the 17th of October of last year. So very proud of these pictures. It gives me a chance to see more about East Tennessee that I think I know, but until you go out and do it, you don't realize. You take 80 pictures of a town, you're going to learn a lot about a town. It's just what happens. But I'm very happy to have these pictures, and I just like to recognize the beauty that is East Tennessee. And I'm thankful for my premium members because, quite honestly, they're the ones that vote and determine where I'm going to go. So if you'd like to check us out, a premium service on Facebook does cost 16 cents a day. Is that all? Just $4.99 a month. You can cancel anytime. But more details on the link on how to sign up is at CaptainAccurate.com. Anyway, my name is David Aldrich. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate. So weather doesn't surprise you. We'll see you here next time. Take care.